You are now tuned in to 710 Radio. We are the newest and hottest independent radio station in Colorado and on the internet. The fans named the station. With over 1 million visitors and over 10 million hits. Oh yeah, our website is going bananas. We are the newest and the hottest. This is 710 Radio. 24/7 radio. Stay tuned and tell a friend. The Dabber's Choice. With hot shows 7 days a week.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team fucking here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now
The following program is intended to educate and inform. We discuss cannabis being used as medicine, the culture, science, and controversy of cannabis and cannabis laws. We do not advocate any illegal activity. Moth Networks and their associates do not claim to be lawyers or doctors, nor do they represent themselves as such. All their comments and views are of their own personal opinion and personal experiences. Opinions and claims made by the guests and advertisers on Moth Networks are their own, and all parties agree to the Moth Network use and policy agreement. Moth Network and Moth Network associates cannot be held legally responsible for the statements of the host or of their guests. We encourage all listeners to learn their constitution, to assert their rights, acknowledge their duties, and know their individual state laws.
Today on Kingdom of Healing. This is Kimberly Mateo, and I'm a traditional naturopath and a master herbalist. And I hope that my over 35 years helps you and your family overcome any health challenges that you are dealing with. So today's show, I want to go through the large intestine, but I kind of want to recap last week's show was on the digestive tract. And so I just want to recap that a little bit before we get into the large intestine. So, digestion starts with smell. That's the beginning thing, the aroma of the food. And what that does is that triggers the thalamus gland and the medulla, which is kind of like the brain's main switchboard. So that kind of starts the salivary glands to activate. And, the salivary glands have enzymes present and amylase, and amylase is what helps with starting to break down those carbohydrates. It also stimulates the hydrochloric acid to start secreting in what's called the body area of the stomach and the antrum. So the walls of the stomach start to release hydrochloric acid, anticipating, getting things ready to start the digestion process when you send the food down. So the vagus nerve, is activated as well by by your sense of smell, just by smelling the food. So the vagus nerve, that connects to every organ in the body except for the adrenal glands. It runs from the brainstem throughout the torso. And vagus means vagrant or wanderer. It regulates everything in the body, and the vagus nerve meanders through the torso, and like I said, it starts at the brainstem. So it's stimulated by the smell, and then this triggers the digestive tract to get ready. The next thing I talked about last week was the tongue, the taste buds, the taste receptor cells, the taste nerves. that involve different neural pathways that activate the digestion also. Then I talked a little bit about tongue analysis, and conventional doctors, they don't pay any attention to the anatomy of the tongue except for looking for lesions or sores. So the tongue really is a map of our health, and all of the meridians, the energy field, all of the meridians connect to the tongue, just like reflexology, where you've got your nerve endings at your hands and your feet. And by holding certain areas, you send energy back to a specific organ or muscle. So you also have, with acupuncture as well. So you have acupuncture points in your ears. So, the tongue being a map to our health, and then the meridians, all of the meridians are connected to the tongue as well. And so you can kind of look at that as like a reflexology type thing, or an acupressure or point. So with that, then the next thing that you can tell with looking at the tongue is you can peg digestive orders, intestinal conditions, inflammation, stagnation, hydration. If people are dehydrated, the tongue, when they stick the tongue out, it has the kind of scalloped edges around the outer periphery of the tongue, and it has the indentation from the teeth. So, the teeth, I'd like to mention, and it's really important to save every tooth that you can, because there's meridians there under the teeth as well that send back a nerve message to specific organ areas. So you stop and think about sometimes, our senior citizens, the older senior citizens that wear an upper and lower denture plate. They have a lot of health issues. There's so many of them, unless they're one that, where they juice and are really conscientious, but about what they're, putting into their body. But ones that are still kind of, the mashed potatoes and gravy and the meatloaf and the Jell-O and the coffee with the artificial creamer and a couple scoops of sugar. Their health is a lot of times very frail. And so there is a direct effect as well as when we lose our teeth. So, it's important that it's always an unfortunate reason that someone ends up losing their teeth. So it's important to kind of massage the gums. Get a little coconut oil and put that in your mouth and swish that around and get everything real lubricated real well. And, just take your finger and run that and hold certain areas, because sometimes if you're having a problem with a certain organ area, even if you do not have, if you don't have your teeth, your gum will feel sore in a certain area. And people have told me before, it's really strange, I don't have a tooth there, but this area of my gum from time to time will really hurt, and it'll throb almost like a toothache. And those are times when you need to take your finger and put it in your mouth and hold that point, put some pressure on there. So if you look up, there's even an oral teeth chart, and that will also show you the different pathways, the nerve pathways, just from the gums.
I'm definitely going to have to get that one.
Huh?
I'm definitely going to have to get that one.
Yeah, so...
Because I have the ones for the hands, the feet and the ears.
Okay, so when you get, you go to, I think it was Lotus. If you listen to last week's show, I gave the website for the tongue analysis, or you can just Google it. You can Google the tongue analysis and come up with a tongue analysis chart.
Definitely do that as well.
Information, and you can Google and also come up with a chart that is it's a tooth chart.
Okay.
And Yeah, so very interesting. I mean, these are things that Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, they've known about this for centuries.
Right, right.
And Western medicine, it's only been around for a little over 100 years.
Oh, that's it. 100 years?
A little over 100 years. That's about it.
Wow, that really is not
It's
a
funny
long
that
time.
it's funny that we're called, or a couple hundred years. It's like we're called, alternative healing, and it's like we've been around for so long. Hippocrates was a naturopath.
They should be the alternative healing.
Yeah, the alternative to natural ended up being allopathic, which is, we need to do a show specifically on actually how the medical field organized. And it was a couple of bankers and a couple of lawyers, and it was a doctor that failed his test numerously.
Oh my goodness!
And he actually never even practiced one day. And
wow,
I can't remember what his name was, but that's something I need to do a show on, because they ousted the naturopath at that time, and it was the early 1900s. And everything that the naturopaths had been applying, the folklore that was handed down, and things that worked. What they did was they took, the knowledge of what types of herbs and things that they were using.
Right.
And then that's where they started with their research.
Well,
that's where they started taking a look at that and finding out what's in this that makes this work. So when people say, well, there's no scientific research on herbs, it's like, excuse me.
There's thousands
Don't
of years
tell me
worth of
you have
research.
bought in to this, because it is the active properties, the constituents from those herbs that were removed from the plant and built around unmentionable chemicals, and that was patentable.
Right, right.
So, really? There's no research? Excuse me? Don't eat that one up.
Right.
That's a line of bull.
Right. Well, look, what do the people do that don't have a doctor? What do people do that don't have a pharmacy or a Walgreens at the corner? They got to do something.
Right. And, for years, there were a lot of things, a lot of herbs and oils and stuff that were sold in the pharmacies that started popping up with this, new medicine. But, there's a book out there called The Drug Story.
Okay.
And you can find it on Amazon. That book is not in print anymore. And I don't know, if you can find one, hurry up. Because I don't think many people, if they've read it, from cover to cover, like I have a few times over the years, gone back and reread that. It is eye-opening, and it's something that you want to have on your shelf at your home, because you want the future generations to be able to, to read that and know and understand how that all started. And, it had to do with money.
Of course.
And control.
Of course.
Money and control. Of course. We're just... Yeah,
oh, well, you just reminded me of an article this morning that I had read. Now, I had told myself I wanted to go back and reread it so I could, because I read through the first article, first time, and but it was saying that the medical industry was formed to be able to make a certain class of people become
very wealthy.
Well, yeah, they're very wealthy, but then it was the people that had to go see them. It was the low poverty people that. Oh man, I can't remember the word that